Welcome back to America's Retirement Headquarters, home of the Retirement Guys formula and America's Medicare Associates with Nolan Baker, Scott Kirshner, and Chaz Price. 419-794-3030 is the phone number. The website, arhq.com. So how quickly do you think you could explain the stock market? Today's show co-host Savannah Guthrie's 8-year-old daughter, Vale, she seems to have a pretty good handle on it.
What is the stock market?
Basically, when companies get big enough, they sell parts of their companies to the public. And at the stock exchange, you sell and buy those parts of the company. And
Oh, I could not have explained that
Can you?
so well.
This is the clearest anyone's ever explained the stock market that I've ever heard before.
If you're keeping time, that was just over like 10 seconds. Do you guys have people coming in to meet you for the first time that don't really understand the stock market and investing in general? And how do you explain to them what is the stock market and how it works?
Yeah, definitely. And I just want to give props to that little girl. That was actually a really good description
Yeah, it was
of what
great.
the stock market is. And when she gets a little older, maybe we'll have some work for her for sure. But we do have clients that come in to see us with differing degrees of education of the stock market. And one of the easiest descriptions that I was ever told and taught is actually taken from Warren Buffett. And he tells a story of his mentor, Benjamin Graham, who you can look him up. He's actually considered one of the fathers of investing and wrote the book, The Intelligent Investor. I would strongly suggest you pick it up. But in an interview, Warren Buffett talks about the Mr. Market allegory that he was taught by Benjamin Graham. And essentially, the way he describes the stock market is as Mr. Market is a business partner of yours in a private enterprise. And Mr. Market comes to work every day, and every day he offers to either buy or sell your interest in the business. The problem is that Mr. Market is absolutely he is at the disposal of his emotions, very emotional. So some days he comes to work extremely exuberant, other days he comes rather depressed. The other fact about Mr. Market is that he doesn't care if you ignore him. Some days you may not want to take him up on his offer to buy or sell the security, or sell his interest, and other days you might. So sometimes he'll, come to work and offer you a really good price, other times not such a good price. But it's up to you to decide whether you're going to take advantage of Mr. Market. But most importantly, you don't want to get involved and you don't want to be, susceptible to his emotional, undertakings, if you will.
I run into a lot that, in Medicare, people come in and, because we're here and we, talk about the team concept and have a lot of people on a team, but a lot of people, they know what the market is, okay, but they don't understand how the market works.
Right.
I remember back when I first started my career, 42 years ago, one of the things that when I went to the HR department is they had me sign all these documents, and one of them was buying shares in the company. I was 18 years old. I didn't have a clue what I was doing, but I knew that it's probably a good thing if they're going to sell me shares at a discounted rate in the company. So I signed on to buy as many of them as possible. But what I run into a lot is people understand, they know what the market is, but they don't understand how it works. They don't understand, why am I buying this or that, or what does it do when I buy this or that? And I think that's obviously, sitting with the two of you in different appointments and how you go through your analogy and why you pick the stocks you do to invest in for the clients. To me, that is the most interesting and make sense thing that I listen to, is how you guys do that.
Well, I greatly appreciate that, and I would say if anybody's out there listening and you're really not sure how your investments work, let's have a conversation. Hopefully we can kind of break it down to you in terms that you can understand and tell you what our thoughts are on our methodology of how it comes to investing into the stock market. But as we look at it, at the end of the day, the stock market's an auction. So the more people that show up to buy, the higher the price goes, and the more people show up to sell, the lower the stock market goes. And it's really a public marketplace. People can buy and sell stocks, bonds. There's other securities. It has different exchanges. So think of it like different shopping centers. There's the New York Stock Exchange, the NASDAQ, the London Stock Exchange, and really many others. And, each set of exchanges kind of has its own rules governing laws and regulations on how buyers and sellers can, trade those overall stocks. And, the stock market works by setting a price for a company stock. It's based upon really the supply and demand of the company stock. So when investors buy shares of the company stock, they're essentially buying a piece of that company. When investors are selling their shares, they're selling their ownership in that company. And as the demand for a company stock increases, the price of the stock increases. And just as the opposite, when demand decreases, the price of the stock decreases. This is how stock prices fluctuate over time. And the stock market allows investors to access a variety of investment companies, such as mutual funds, there's exchange-traded funds, options, futures, different types of hybrids, and these type of investments really allow an investor to diversify, with the goal to hopefully help reduce some of the risk exposure that they have. And, with our methodology that we have within our investment approach, we have a defined investment strategy. I would call it a formula-based investment approach. So what we do is we go through and we look at certain criteria that says, here's companies that we want to own and the reasons why. As an example, we generally like cash-rich, low debt, high return on equity companies. We like companies that people use every day. Then at the same time, what we can also do within the portfolios and the systems that we set in place, we can apply some circuit breakers on the portfolio. So as people get closer to retirement time, there's strategies that we can take to implement to try to help protect if and when the market technically turns negative, try to mitigate some of the loss avoidance. So if you're wondering what the stock market is and how it works, or if you're looking at your investments and you're like, I just don't know if I'm picking the right investments in my 401k. If you haven't looked at your choices in 5 or 10 years or since you set up the 401k, sure. Or if you're working with somebody today and you're just wondering, is this the best approach for me? Let's have a conversation. The way that we could find that out is by stress testing your portfolio. We can take your investments and we can put them in a software program. And what this software program will do is it'll show you what the level of risk is, measuring it from 0 to 100. It'll show you, what the typical range of returns could be over a 6-month time frame. And then we could give it the portfolio a grade point average. So think about like kids in school. Is it an A? Is it a B? Is it a C? Is it a D? So if you got some C's, D's, and F's in the portfolio, now you've identified here's areas that maybe we can take it up a notch. And by getting that independent portfolio analysis, that's the way to do that. We love doing those independent portfolio analysis. And again, just to extend that offer, if you haven't got that, we'd love to give that for you. And the first 5 callers that call in, just to help educate you about what your investments are, we'd be happy to provide you feedback on your independent portfolio analysis with giving you some suggestions on how to navigate today's uncertain times.
The great thing is we went to dinner, my wife and I went to dinner the other night here 2 or 3 weeks ago. And, my stepdaughter, she says, tell me a little bit about how investing in the market and all of that works. So the really good thing is, I think the younger generation coming up, they're starting to learn some of this and teach more of this in school. I think parents are talking more with their younger generations coming up. So your jobs may be a little bit easier getting people that come in with at least a little bit more knowledge.
You need further proof of that. Again, that clip we just played, that was an 8-year-old explaining it in about 10 seconds. There is power, and we've said this many times, in being able to say, I don't know. My son's 7. He asks a lot of questions, and I don't know the answer to them. And I'll tell him, I don't know, but let's go find out together. You may not know how your portfolio is going to respond over the next couple of years, but a way to find out, having something like the independent portfolio analysis done, and then if you do have those C's and D's and perhaps even F investments, it's not necessarily a failure on your part, because as soon as you identify those, you can make the changes and get them, into A's or B's or what have you. Take advantage of this offer. Schedule a time to speak with the team at America's Retirement Headquarters. Have that independent portfolio analysis run. 419-794-3030 is the phone number. That's 419-794-3030.